Hi, this is Kristi from birdmentor.com, where I teach advanced skills to beginning birders, and thanks for joining me today. So how many of you would say that you use an app to help you identify a bird in the field? Now, how about a field guide? How many of you use a field guide for that same purpose? Okay, well, there is a growing number of people out there who believe that the apps are going to render our field guides virtually obsolete and maybe someday even take over the world. Just kidding. But what I'm going to do today is take a look at why that might be happening, and also we're going to look at what I think is the ultimate in learning. I love this snow right now. We're going to look at what is the ultimate approach to learning more about birds based on those two options. So the first factor I'm going to look at today is that of size. Now, we all know about how big an iPhone or an Android phone is. They fit in our pockets and they're just really easy for on the go, whether you want to take pictures or use the apps on your phone. Whereas a field guide, it's a bit of a bulkier item, and yeah, it takes a little bit to carry. You might need a purse or a pouch to carry that. Now, the next factor is that of the range maps and other cool information that you might find about the birds in either of these options. Now, with the field guide, the only downside of the field guide is that the information they have in here usually can't be updated all that easily. So it's about every 10 years or so that the actual field guide gets updated. Whereas the apps, although they don't get updated as frequently as they probably should, it's a lot easier for those to get updated on a regular basis. Now, the next factor is that of citizen science. So using an app, you're able to upload your data, and also the piece I forgot to mention before is that you can see up to the minute results of the birds that have been spotted in your area. So with the citizen science, what you can do is instantly update or upload the sightings that you have onto a website like eBird or something, and have that go into a giant database of other reports from people all around the nation and even the world now. And obviously field guides just don't have that possibility or that capability. The other thing is songs. So with the field guides, it is great because they do have nice descriptions typically of the voice. Let's see, I just opened to the Parakeet Auklet, and it said generally silent at sea. So unfortunately that was not a great one to open up to. In Colony, it gives a hoarse rhythmic call similar to Cassin's Auklet. Now, that's great to have the written description, but it's amazing to have an actual sound that you can hear and compare it to the bird that you're hearing. So, you know, that's where the app just surpasses the field guide, is because they have multiple calls and songs that are made available to you. Now, the next function is that of comparing different species or different features on a bird. And both offer nice tools for that. So the apps do allow you to compare different birds side by side. And also, of course, the field guide, you can look up a bird and look from one page to the other to compare your species. But I have a story for you. So last year, I was invited to go to a local 7th grade classroom, and these 7th grade science students had gotten really excited about birds. So I took them out one afternoon, and we were out for just a couple minutes when this really beautiful bluebird flew by us, landed pretty close to on a branch of a tree, and just kind of postured at us for a minute. And the kids got really excited. They wanted to know what it was. And so a couple of them pulled out their phones and opened up their apps and started looking. And so what they did was they typed in blue, the color blue, and it gave them a list of 4 birds. It gave them the Laslai bunting, the blue grosbeak, the mountain bluebird, and the western bluebird. And this was all right at first, but what the kids noticed pretty soon was that none of those birds really matched the bird that they were seeing. And the reason for that was because what we were actually looking at was a Steller's jay. And unfortunate for the kids, they relied on the wisdom of the app to know what choices to give them. And that's where I do find the app sometimes fails me, is that if I am looking for similar species, I think sometimes there's a button you can click on, that it doesn't always give me the birds that I would think are similar to the species I'm looking at. So don't always count on the wisdom of your app to know. And I think it's great to go to your field guide and you get to decide which birds are similar. Now, this last one is the one that I mentioned in the beginning of the video as the ultimate way to learn more about birds. And I'm going to make a claim first that might be going a little bit against the grain from what you might be thinking. And that is that I think it's best to leave both your apps and your field guides in the car or at home when you're going out birding. And the reason I think this is because I actually think it makes us kind of lazy. We don't have to remember or pay attention to the birds that we're seeing when we have the guide readily available to give us the answer, right? So let's say I see a beautiful bird on the river here right now, and instead of really studying the features of that bird and its behavior, it'd be really easy for me to just open up my field guide and say, oh, look, it's a greater scaup, and just write that off as done. You know, yeah, I saw that bird. But if I don't have my guide and I don't have my app, I am forced to really pay attention to those features if I don't know that bird well already, so that when I get back home or in my car, then I have those that memory and those mental map of what that bird looks like to go and learn more about it. All right, and now for the ultimate approach to learning birds, and that is, and I don't think I'm being too old-fashioned in saying this, and as fantastic as the apps are, and for all the amazing features that they offer, I actually think that the field guide offers the best approach to learning birds. And one reason that I haven't mentioned yet is because when you look up a bird, let's say we want to know what the cuckoo is, the black-billed cuckoo. Let's say we see a bird that looks like that. Well, we're probably going to go flipping through the book, page after page, until we find the bird that looks familiar to the one that we just saw. And what that does for us, sometimes it seems frustrating, like, oh God, I wish I could just get to it sooner. But actually we are learning every page we flip and every bird that we even for a moment glance at, we're actually learning those birds, or learning even a small feature that they offer. In addition to that, we're also learning what families or what groupings these birds go in, like the dabbling ducks versus the diving ducks, right? Or the corvid family. So when we look for the Steller's jay, like I mentioned before, we're also most likely going to see the other birds in that family. And I just think that's a fantastic tool, and I really hope that we never lose that, and this new upcoming generation of birders don't rely so heavily on their apps that they never go to the field guides, because it was just one of my most favorite ways to learn the birds. So help keep them alive. Don't let the field guides die. I think I'm going to make a bumper sticker or something that says, save the field guides. All right, now please weigh in on this topic. I'd love to know what you think, if you use a field guide or an app, and what your preference is, why you use it, and then what you also thought of what I mentioned today. Oh, and something else I wanted to tell you about. If you are curious at all about bird sounds and learning them, I've got something pretty cool coming for you in the next couple of weeks. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you are on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you can like or follow my page. We'd love to have you there. And otherwise, I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me.